everyone. Welcome to Calm. This is day 15 of 31 days of yoga for mental health. I'm Daria, and this is week 3 of this series. So today's practice is very calm, very chill, sort of like a yin style restorative yoga class. All you'll need today is yourself and a space to move. And if you have a yoga block, go ahead and grab one because you might want to just rest your head on it, or a pillow or something like a little bolster, any kind of prop or not. When you're ready, let's get into it. We'll get started today in child's pose. Come to the back of your mat. Let your toes touch together and let your knees spread open really wide, probably about the width of your mat. And then crawl your fingertips lazily forward and down. And release your forehead all the way to your mat. Relax the back of your neck right away. And begin to deepen your breath like it's the very first breath of your whole day. Breathe in to fill up the low belly, the space between each rib, all the way up to the top of the lungs, and exhale to release anything you don't need to be holding on to anymore. Inhale again, fill up deeply and fully. Exhale, sigh, let it all go. Begin to settle into a state of serenity. Letting go of any obligations, anything that already happened so far in your day, or anything that is on a to-do list. All you have to do for the rest of this practice is just breathe and dig in and ground into your space. Allow your mind to begin to soften, to get quieter. And let this softness ripple all the way through your entire body, letting go of any unnecessary engagement or holding or gripping that you notice. Really send your breath through the entire body and feel it move, rather than just taking in the air and forgetting about it. Really send it to all of the tight spaces, all of the little forgotten corners of your body where there might be some dust or cobwebs that need clearing. Let your spine be really long and let your hips get meltier and sink down closer to your heels. Stay right here for 2 more breaths. And now as we transition through the postures in this sequence, try to move with as little effort as possible. Staying safe and always grounded, but see how lazily you can go from one movement to the next. Send a little weight into your fingers and crawl forward through tabletop hands and knees, and then make your way all the way down to lie on your belly as gently and easily as you can. Let your toes untuck behind you and let your whole chest just melt down to the mat. Send your left arm out to a T beside you. Keep your right palm planted and then roll onto the left side of your body, sending the right toes all the way around behind you maybe, or if that feels a little intense, you can always stay with the right foot just stacked on top of the left. And hopefully you'll begin to feel and experience a nice shoulder opening stretch in the front of the left shoulder. Let your head relax down to your mat. Check in with the very last tooth on each row and soften there. Let your jaw be heavy. Even your cheeks relax. The whole face relaxes. Breathe into the space in the front of the left shoulder. It's like combing out through all the muscles. You can imagine that your breath is like a comb, untangling a bit more each time that you breathe. If you'd like to close your eyes at any time during this practice to go a little more inside, you're more than welcome to do that. If you feel like you're craving a little more intensity as we stay here just for a few more rounds, you can maybe step the sole of your left foot down next to the right and slide your hips just an inch or so over to the left. And this might intensify the sensation. Another option is to reach all the way around with a right arm and maybe grab for fingertips. But stay where you are and only go deeper if it's because your body asks for it, if it's the result of unfolding all the layers that came before. Slowly roll your way back to center. Bring the palm of your left hand down. Send your right arm out to a T and roll all the way onto the right side of your body now. So the left toes maybe can come down behind you or they stack on top of the right foot. Relax your head down to your mat and breathe. As you breathe into the sensation on the right side in the front of the right shoulder, maybe notice if you feel any opening or like a flush in the front of the left shoulder as a result of the stretch on the first side. Breathe along the grain of the muscle where you feel the sensation, working with the body rather than against it. See if you can avoid forcing anything or focusing on the external expression of the posture, but rather feel it from the inside out. And letting our focus, our attention be less on outcome and more on each piece of the process allows us really to be more present with the unfolding and with all of the steps along the way, all of the wisdom that we can gain from moving through the entire experience. If you're looking for a bit more, now's the time maybe to slide the sole of the right foot down, shift the hips a little to the right, or maybe reach around with the left arm to see if you can grab for right fingertips. And take any little micro adjustments that you need to really feel calm, to feel safe and supported, and like you can relax. Slowly begin to roll back to your belly, all the way to the midline. And then really lazily just press into your palms and lift yourself all the way up. Crawl forward to the top of your mat. Bring toes to touch and let your knees spread wide as if you're setting up again for a child's pose. And now send your pelvis a little bit forward as your fingertips come down behind you. So you can even maybe just really gently and easily pick your hips up and away from your heels and then just send it forward a little bit, just a slight little pelvic tuck. And you might already begin to feel a stretch, a sensation along the front line of the body, in the quads, and maybe up all the way into the chest. So stay with what you're feeling. If you'd like to go in a little deeper, you can continue to stay with that pelvic tilt a little forward and maybe glide all the way down to elbows. And there are steps in between. So maybe you're somewhere in the middle without too much activation or engagement in the arms, but go with the journey. And then maybe you slowly lower all the way down to lie on your back. And from here, one more option. Reach your arms up overhead and grab for opposite elbows. See if you can soften your low belly and your low back all at once. Imagine your breath like waves. With each inhale, there's a little ebb, maybe a little lift of more space being created. And with each exhale, there's that sink, that flow, like the bobbing up and down of waves or ripples. If the eyes are closed, check in to make sure you're not squeezing them shut or creating any unnecessary tension, but just that they're nice and softly closed. And if you start to feel like maybe you've gone in a little too far, or like you've settled into a spot that no longer feels manageable, always, always, always come out a little bit. Take a few steps backward, retrace your steps, and see if you can find the spot that feels sweet. It's the spot where you first notice it feeling interesting, maybe. Where you notice that bit of resistance or just a sensation that makes you go, maybe I can settle there and dig into that a little bit. And as you continue to unwind and relax even more, maybe you take little micro adjustments to, again, just stay feeling cozy and calm and comforted. And breathe into the whole front line of your body. Imagine more space being created from the tips of your knees all the way back through the crown of your head. And with the exhale, sink into all of that new space that the breath created. Slowly begin to make your way out. If you came all the way down to lie on your back, press into elbows and palms to lift you back up. Press into fingertips and just slowly make your way out. Draw your knees together to touch and just sit still for one breath. Maybe the palms turn to flip up. Good. And now shift your weight to sit onto your left hip and bring your heel of your right foot into your glute. Press down the top of your right foot into your mat so your right toenails can sort of press down and dig in right there. And then send your left leg out straight in front of you. You can wiggle and adjust to get a little more onto your sit bones. Set up so that you're not feeling any discomfort in the right knee, so maybe you can widen it out or just play to find what works best for you. And from here, maybe you stay, maybe you're feeling it right here already into the back line of the left leg. And eventually, maybe you begin to melt it forward. Again, take it nice and slow. It's not a race and there's no rush. There's no finish line. There's nowhere that you need to get to. So move with your breath and with your body. until you find the spot that gets interesting. Notice the effects of deep breathing on your whole body, in the spaces that feel sticky and the spaces that feel maybe a little less sticky. Notice the calming, that the more deeply you breathe, the more deeply you can melt into relaxation. Maybe eventually your head comes all the way down to rest on the left leg, or maybe melts down to your mat or to a block underneath you or a pillow or any kind of support. The goal with these longer holds and these more restorative poses is really to set yourself up to feel as comfortable and as relaxed as possible. And so taking props, involving props in a way that's personal, in a way that allows you to feel the most comforted that you can, is always very helpful. Maybe bring a pillow between your chest and your thigh, or under your forehead or your elbows. You can get creative and do what works best for you, as always. Try to let go of any unnecessary engagement, checking in. Always a reminder, a good reminder to check in with the face and the jaw and the hands. If your arms are supporting you, see if you can just let go of the activation. So it's not an active pose, but just a nice fold. For your last breath here, what else can you let go from the body, the mind, or both? And slowly begin to walk your way out, grounding down through fingertips. Roll again into the left hip and send your right leg out long. So spread your legs wide, but only to the place where you feel resistance. So no need to force the legs any further than they want to go. It might be here, it might be here, it might be anywhere along that path. Sit up nice and tall onto your sit bones and elevate your heart. You might even bring your fingertips behind you and hang out right here. If you would like to go in a little more, crawl your fingertips forward and down and slowly begin to relax. Option for blocks, a pillow, a bolster under the belly, the chest, under the elbows, or the hands. Maybe you can bring your forehead down to your thumbs if you take palms together, or bring a block under the forehead. Notice what's going on with the feet and the toes. Sometimes maybe we would be in a more active stretch here, flexing through the feet, but see if you can let that go and just let it drop. Feel into the very root, the base of your pelvic floor, connected to the earth, and soften into that space. Especially if you folded forward, soften the back of your neck, your whole scalp and the roots of your hair. You can be almost as if you didn't have any bones or muscles in your body, so you're just so droopy, like a noodle, melting and sinking into gravity. Allow the force of gravity to be like a warm blanket, covering your whole body, and especially the places where you're connected to the earth or to the mat. Notice if a few minutes into the stretch, you might feel just a little release, like a little give, a little drop. And dig into that sensation. And we'll stay for 2 more rounds of breath. Slowly walk your way out if you folded forward. And we'll turn now to face the back of your mat. So you can keep the right leg just as it is, but sort of sit onto the right hip. And then we'll go for the heel, the left heel into the glute, pressing down through the toenails on the left foot. Square your hips, really sit down onto your hip bones, or your sitting bones. And then maybe you begin to fold forward for this little forward stretch on the other side. Let go of any expectations for what this side will feel like or look like or be like based on what happened on the other side. And let this one be its own process of unfolding and its own unique sensations. Our anatomy varies from person to person, but also from side to side. So the very structure of your bones in your body might be a little different on one side versus the other. If you notice any restlessness in the mind or the body, or just feeling unsettled, see if you can deepen your breath even more. Send your awareness there and even it out from the inhales and the exhales. Maybe inhaling and exhaling for the same number of counts in and out. Maybe counting the numbers will help you to still the mind and be a bit more calm. You can also tune in more to the grounding, to the sensations and all the connections between your body and the earth. Maybe you can find a place to rest your head, whether it's on the mat or on the right leg or on a block or a pillow, so that you can release more. Good. Slowly come out, crawling fingertips back up toward the midline. And we'll move into half pigeon. Draw your right shin into probably somewhere between a 45-degree and a 90-degree angle. And then sit your hips to the midline, send your left toes back behind you, and then untuck your toes. And you can stay sitting up right here for a few breaths if you'd like to settle a bit more. If you're someone who notices that your hips tend to really pop up and away from your mat, it's always an option to slide a block under your front hip and feel a little more supported. A block, a pillow, again, just any sort of support or prop that you've got available to you. And then as you're ready, fold it forward. See if you can keep your left inner thigh facing up toward the ceiling to keep the hips square as you fold. And even though you've most likely been in this posture before, see if you can take the journey again today and be with it just like it is today. Just like even if you've been somewhere before and you know the route that you go, it's a little different every time. If you did fold forward, find somewhere to relax your head. You can bring your palms to touch and let your head fall onto your forehead. Or maybe bring a block in front of you to rest your forehead down on. Visualize your breath moving into the space where you feel the most sensation. Send it there with intention and watch it clear away residue and debris. Old holding patterns in your body, maybe in your mind too. Maybe again you feel into that subtle shift, that subtle release. And stay and breathe. Each time you exhale, it's like a little bit of erosion, a little bit of thawing. Good. Press into palms, fingertips to make your way back up to the midline. Roll onto your outer right hip. Come through center, bring both palms to plant down behind you. Turn your toes to face out, letting the heels stay grounded. And then just drive your knees out wide a couple of times for a little counter stretch. And we'll roll to the left. So the left shin faces forward for half pigeon on this side. And again, set it up based on feeling, not look. As you're ready, maybe you bring in the fold. Slowly down to forearms. Tune into the sound of your own breath. Breathe with sound. Let it be, again, like ocean waves, very calming, gently ebbing and flowing. In and out. Stay aware, stay with all the sensations. So even though the mind maybe is a bit quieter and calm, and some of the noise from our busy lives and days is emptied, stay present with what you're experiencing. So not falling asleep and not turning away, but feeling into it all the time. Two more breaths. Two more let goes, exhalations. Good. Press your way all the way back up to your palms. Sink into the left hip and reach your right leg all the way around, bringing both feet down to your mat, and really gently and easily, without core engagement as much as you can, lazily just lie all the way back like your body's super heavy. Pull both knees into your chest. Give them a nice squeeze. And maybe pick up your head to curl into a really tiny ball. Inhale. Exhale, drop. Let your limbs go out really nice and wide, taking up a lot of space. And sink. Imagine maybe like you're lying on the forest floor or someplace that's nice and plushy, like a bed of moss. So you just sink right in, right away. Let all your muscles unwind, untangle. Again, maybe feel like you don't even have muscles or bones, but you're just a noodle that is sinking into gravity. Soften the low belly to find more ease. And let the back of your head be nice and heavy. Feel into the calming effects of this practice on your whole body. And stay with this drop, this Shavasana, this soaking back into the earth for as long as you can. Your body will signal you when it's ready to come out. Just allow yourself to wake back up gently as you're ready. Thank you for sharing this practice with me today and for making space for yourself to be a little more calm, to find more serenity and peace in your day. Namaste.